healing crystals, skincare routines, knitting a sweater, fitting in jeans. With Katie and Sarah, no need to worry, you're on a lady journey.
Lady journey. That's how we get into it. That's how we get into it. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Yeah, welcome
We're
to
talking
Lady
yogurts.
Journey. We're talking about Just kidding.
Yeah. What are your top 5 yogurts? Well, I did do a yogurt bowl this morning, but I'm trying to eat reasonably after a month of like kind of having having a crazy schedule, and then just eating eating whatever I could grab and put my hands on. So I got the yogurt, banana, raisins, as you know, my addiction, my strange addiction. And then some sunflower seeds, which is a yummy combo. And then I did a little cinnamon, and it was delightful. But I can't believe I'm hungry again.
Right.
I mean, that was like not that long ago.
This is an age-old dilemma because dietitians or whatever I see online is always like, if you want to be satiated, you got to get more protein and that'll fill you up for the rest of the day. But then when you do like sometimes a protein diet with light on the carbs, you're like, but why am I starving? But then they're like, if you only eat carbs, then you're going to be hungry an hour later. And then Joe thinks this, and I keep telling him like, no, if you can start getting more protein in and eating better, more sustenance in your meals, I think you'll have less mac and cheese cravings.
Yes.
But he won't believe me.
I do agree with that.
Because I'm not a scientist.
Yeah. Well, your voice is quiet. As a woman, your voice is... I wish I could... And I try to eat more protein. However, I don't like eating protein. There's not one type of protein. Like Greek yogurt, I'm like, okay,
eggs. Fine. I love eggs.
An egg is okay. But it's like, they'll be like, you should be getting like 100 grams of protein. It's like, well, that's not going to happen because I'm not eating a dry chicken breast
every
the moment
day.
I open my eyes. Okay? I want to eat toast. I want to eat sourdough. I want to eat pastina.
I want a bagel.
I want a bagel.
And then...
You monster.
I cannot be cooking meats for every meal.
Exactly. That's the other thing where it's like, let me whip out a rasher of bacon.
Right.
And get to it. Like, who has the time for this?
Well, I always thought that, this was never going to be a joke, but the idea of like the Caveman Diet is actually really expensive, and I don't know how they afforded.
Yeah, it's like how are these cavemen doing
paying
this over
for their
an open
buffalo
flame?
meat?
Yeah. Well, I have a new breakfast place in my neighborhood. It's called Sunflower Cafe, Gramercy. It is the best breakfast place I have ever been to.
Do their tables go lengthways?
No, they have little teeny tiny tables, and they use plastic cups, which is off-putting. But
is it orange inside?
Yes, it's yellowish orange
Adrian
inside.
and I used to write there all the time, and we would work on our script for years to the point that we started joking that now, what if we ended up just working here, and that's how bad our script got.
That's hilarious. But are you talking about Sunburst though?
Maybe it's Sunburst.
We used to go there. That was our old brunch place.
I didn't mind Sunburst.
We loved it, but it closed.
Figures.
So now we're at Sunflower.
Not to be
but Sunburst was an amazing, and it was orange in there, and it was kind of like the
cold
international
sometimes.
Coffee house vibe.
Yes, a lot of people. It wasn't like people were. It's just like a place that you would just be like, let's just go here. Let's just go here.
Yes,
and that's the vibe of it. But then, because it was so close to the stand, we would always just hang out there and write.
Yeah, it was right by the stand.
After a while, I was like, their food wasn't that bad, but I don't think people were knowing about it in that neighborhood. It was not a place that would draw your attention.
It would be kind of
It's
packed.
like, I have to take a shit.
Yeah. It would get kind of packed on the weekends, but it would be maddening because then it would be like a man there with a laptop sipping like a mini espresso for 4 hours. And you're like, sir. But they had really cheap breakfast. They had like $10 bacon, egg, and toast.
It wasn't bad. And their salads were good.
Yeah. But Sunflower.
That was an era.
That was an era. Sunflower, though, unbelievable. I had my favorite omelet that I order. I'm really into. I get tomato, onion, and American cheese.
Yeah.
And it's what is it about the combo? Cheese and onions. I'm an onion queen.
Me too. And when people say they don't like onions, I'm always like, well, you just don't know that you're eating them.
Right. They're in everything.
You
bitch.
love them.
I mean, maybe I don't want a raw red onion or something on like a salad, but like
they don't like the texture of it. And I don't know. It's never been a thing in my world.
No, if I was a medieval peasant, I would thrive. Okay, because I'm like, give me a leek soup,
a potato, and a leek with a broth.
Yes. I'm fine. You know, I'm just I think
I could actually
living to 30, but I'm a crone in the town at this age.
We're probably getting raped every day.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting pillaged, but I had a great broth. I made a cheese, and they did also eat like weird things like pig head. I'd be
right.
The boar's head.
Yeah. Oh, what did I have? Oh, I went to go have pho. I always thought it was pho.
I love pho. Yeah, it's. I feel uncomfortable as a white woman saying pho. So I always just say pho and
right,
because I'm like, I don't want to pretend. I don't want them to think I know what I'm talking about. It's like, obviously I'm not in here like, give me the pho.
And then most people I think are saying faux. There's only a few people that know that it's pho.
I call it a faux pas. A faux pas.
Oh, that would be a good restaurant name.
Oh, faux pas.
Faux pas.
Yeah. We spill it. We spill it on you.
I thought of the name the other day for a hair place for New Yorkers that also owned by the mafia called Quaff It Up.
Quaff it up.
Quaff it up.
That's amazing.
Thank
it's a great front.
It's a gift. It's a gift that I have of pointless names.
How was
of emerging businesses?
Yeah. You hire her. How was the pho? Was it amazing?
Well,
God, any rich broth in this weather, I just crave it.
And then I like basically are cooking the meat in the broth, but they had tripe.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I can't do it.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
That's a meat or protein thing that seems old timey.
It's
peasant-y that's moved its way back in.
Yes. It's become, well, I think it's been like a bit of the green movement where it's like, we shouldn't be just killing cows and then like throwing out their organs. Right. Like we should probably be eating it. It's kind of messed up to be like, ew.
But it's
I don't like that part of your body.
I shame them. And I won't eat it.
I shame the cow as I'm murdering it. I struggle with offal of any type as well.
Yeah, I can't do liver.
I think it's like a cultural thing too, where it's like if you don't grow up eating it, it does become.
Yeah, I get like long teeth.
Yeah, although I will say I really love grasshoppers, which I've eaten on a multiple times. I know I've talked about that on here.
Joe and I have this box in our house where he has things that he's like, I don't want you to throw that away. It's a memory, but it'll just be laminate to go into Sirius Radio. So it's just like stuff that I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. Let me throw it. But then Marty had opened it up and there was a box of salt and vinegar crickets and I couldn't figure out why we kept this.
A little snack.
But it's so weird that you just brought that up because that came into our life. So it's like now crickets are on our life algorithm.
Yeah, they're in your memory box.
Right.
What are it's hilarious. You're like, I can't remember. What was the memory?
I think I was supposed to throw this away is the memory. I think I might go
give it to the baby.
Into the secret memory in the memory box, and I think I might start deleting some memories.
I think I might be moving. The new memory box is the trash can. It's a memory box, and we'll never forget.
Yes. Well, we also have a lot of photos and frames right now, and then Marty's just climbing up on stuff that I'm like, do we really need to? Can we immortalize this in a book instead of in our decor?
Yeah,
is the question I'm asking myself.
Baby proofing is because now your baby is walking, so it's like you're in an era of baby proofing that you were not. That's wild.
He's
climbing the walls.
He's climbing the walls. Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get bored and I let him climb it. I'm like, just get on the bookcase and touch that sound box 20 million times. He's broken our record player, and because I just quit working with, you know what I mean? Like, say after a while, I'm like, this is fine. Just fucking go to town on it.
I mean, you have to have some time for yourself. Right. They're like, if I have to sacrifice the record player, so be it.
It was a piece of shit anyway, and I want to get a high-end one anyway.
Who wants a record? Give me a Pandora.
Yeah, give me a playlist.
I'm fine. Now,
Anyways.
we are talking today, I forget our topics. We were talking kitchen upgrades.
Kitchen upgrades and also like your apartment shopping or just lightly looking into.
Considering we're taking the first steps of looking into buying an apartment, which doesn't mean that we're going to, but we're just we're in a space of like, is this a good idea? Is this something we should be thinking about? Because I'm thinking of doing it as not like we're so wealthy and we're like, let's buy an apartment. But like, as I'm getting married and taking the next step in my life of like, okay, what's the smart thing to be doing in terms of like investing?
Well, I think an apartment in New York will never depreciate in value.
That's what some people say. But then I've also heard people say that in order for the apartments in New York to keep appreciating, things need to continue being as they are now.
We're building a lot.
There needs to be a deficit of housing, and there needs to be a glut of people moving to the city. And so
people are moving out a little bit.
Yeah, that could change. Like a lot of people are moving out. So I don't know if it's better to do that or to do something like maybe buy a place upstate that's
and
like that's our
rent
country
here.
house and then keep renting. I don't know. I've read I read one book about it called I got this book for $5 on Amazon, so surely it's legitimate. It is called Buy a Condo in NYC. And it does advise me to buy
ever do a
get
co-op.
That condo. Yeah, they said don't do a co-op. Yeah.
A co-op people think they like are owning an apartment. This is what I'm gathering from when I did property management because we worked with a lot of co-ops. You're basically going into, when you buy a co-op, you're just buying, it's like buying shares into a company.
Yeah.
And then you're running a company with a bunch of fucking nutso New Yorkers that you don't know who they are.
It's like getting a job for your apartment.
You're running a business with fucking lunatics.
Yeah, I have no desire to do that. And I'd rather pay more money because also one of the things I did read in Buy a Condo in NYC, it said it discouraged from doing co-ops because it said one thing that they can do when you buy in a co-op, it's not necessarily a good investment opportunity because they do a flip tax where if you try to sell your apartment, then the co-op is charging you money on the profit just to get out.
Yes.
So it's like a whole thing.
Yeah, because you're renting your shares of the apartment.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, well, if we're all making a profit, it's a business that we're all in together, so we should make a profit too.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't want to work with a nutso. I can't.
It's insane. And then they find, like, when I worked at property management, they would find out another, I guess they don't even call them tenants, they call them shareholders.
Yeah. It's like, let's be real.
Yeah. And so they would find out shareholders had secretly added onto their rooftop apartment, like, that was a roof, they had roof access, and then they would make it their own little private terrace area, and they would find out about it by like renting drones to go fly over this new space to be like, I knew it. I knew you put AstroTurf up there and you put a few lawn chairs and you've increased the value of your property by, you added like 100 new square feet to it. So you're going to have to buy more shares if that's what you're going to do. So it got really fun and juicy when you're doing property management, but it was such a fascinating world to look into that I did walk away being like, condo is the way to go.
Yeah, it's like a co-op is like, imagine if, you know how there's like a bunch of insane people that you work with? Imagine if that was your home. And like, that's the break room.
Right.
Well, because
it's insanity.
I live in a co-op now, but we're renting from
a
the
shareholder.
Owner. Yeah. And so my building is actually kind of nuts in a hilarious way where like we had to create a WhatsApp chain because people were texting the entire apartment on a thread and somehow we got on it. But I can't.
You can't get out of those threads.
It's crazy. And I can't access WhatsApp because I forget or something. So Mike has it, but he reads us.
I always act ignorant in the WhatsApp world. I don't know what information. It's for.
There's no information being passed around. It's literally like Elaine who's on there. I don't know who that is.
One person that's always on there.
Yeah, Elaine being like, there's a suitcase in the lobby. And this is not a storage area. And it's like, Elaine.
Just put it on the board on the, I don't know.
Throw it out. I don't care. It's not mine.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Or Mr. Ho will be like, there was a strange man standing outside the door at 3:30. And it's like, well, Mr. Ho, like, maybe you should take matters into your own hands.
Yeah.
It's not the job of the rest of us.
You're like, I was unaware of this, and I kind of like the ignorance is bliss on this one.
Yeah, like, I don't think I need to know about the strange man standing outside the door. Like, I think it was a
it's
delivery
just a New
man.
York weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they try to get us to do like communal activities. Like Elaine put ornaments in the lobby and invited everyone to, if you want to put a picture of you and your pet.
No.
Oh, yeah. And then we can, it's like, Elaine.
You don't want these people knowing information about you. No. Because the next thing you know, they're like, can you take me to the airport?
Yeah.
You just can't form relationships like this with strangers. I could do this for friends because you know that you're like, I know it's in town, and then we've had a back and forth, and like I get emotional well-being out of my relationship.
Yeah.
Where like I just feel like I'm putting guilt trips sometimes with people, strangers that you just meet in your building.
Yeah, no. Yeah. It's like, Elaine, can I come into your home?
Yeah.
Can you let me hang out with you? But yeah, so we're looking into it. We're just Zillowing, but I'm also getting into the world of like understanding taking out a mortgage, taking out a loan, which is complicated, and even understanding like one thing I was like a little bit delusioned. Living in a delusion of like, oh, if you have like $400,000, that means you can buy an apartment that's $400,000. But it's like understanding the taxes and the closing cost and really weighing out like, is it worth it to buy a home when then you're just pissing taxes into the wind?
Right.
Like you own the home, I guess, but you don't really. The bank owns it, and then you're just renting it from the bank.
Yeah.
And in 30 years, then I guess you technically own it, but then you still have to pay maintenance. So it's like, oh, when does it end?
Right. Somebody had said it best in New York, when you buy a place, you're really just buying to rent.
You're just buying it to rent.
So you buy it, but you're still kind of like lightly rent. You're still paying
the maintenance. Like
there's
no apartment in Manhattan that has an HOA lower than $1,000 a month.
Right. And I was just talking to this woman in Boston area, and she was talking about just in the Boston, she moved to Florida, and she was like, it's insane how much less we pay in HOA fees in Florida, and we get like security, a public pool, or like really great amenities from their HOA, and then in Boston they pay so much more and they get shit.
Yeah. Well, it's like you're paying, and then it's like they're like, we have a gym, and then you go and look at the gym, and it's like an elliptical in like the boiler room.
That's what our gym is. And we were told they're like, the gym is not the selling point. It's just like a last resort if you wanted to get something in. But we went down there. I was like, let me just go see this gym, because Joe was like, now you could work out at a gym if you wanted to. And I went down there, and it looked like the storage room of broken down equipment at a shitty gym. And then it was so cramped. We opened the door, and it was two men spotting each other while doing like heavy weight training pelvic thrusts. That it felt like we just walked on and two men giving each other anal.
Yeah.
It felt like we were like, no. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for walking in. Yeah.
Excuse us. Yeah. It's like, no, that's just the gym for Terry and Bob. Oh my God.
And then you're just like worried that you go down to the basement gym.
Yeah.
And then the doormen have security access, and they're all really lovely. But I just suspect all of a sudden the doorman has to like, oh, why is he down here all the time when I'm working out? Like, you just feel like
it is.
They know what you're doing all the time. It's embarrassing that you're on security camera, just like lifting weights,
doing a shoulder retraction.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they have that shitty gym so they can jack the HOA and be like, well, that's why it's $1,700 a month. And you're like, this is scandalizing.
Yeah.
That's what a normal rent would be in any other city.
And so that was the fascinating thing when we moved into this apartment. Like, aesthetically, I like it, and I like the layout. And then that was Katie's chapstick cap.
That was the lid of my. Thank you, Lex. You're an ally.
And so we're paying quite a bit more than what we paid in Astoria. But you know what's so fascinating? The Astoria amenities for our apartment, in Astoria, we had crown molding. We had legit hardwood floors.
Yeah.
The water in our apartment, the taps worked cold and hot. Ours keeps flipping. Cold is hot, hot is cold.
Weird.
Some times of the day we don't get hot water. It's just like lukewarm going on cold.
Oh boy.
Also the hardwood floor, it's not hardwood floor. It's clicky clacky.
Yeah.
So it's
like
plastic
laminate.
tiles that they had put down. I noticed in our kitchen, the countertops feel like they had just put, you remember all the DIY projects on TikTok during COVID?
Yeah.
I felt like they just put a sticky tacky fake marble looking thing over the countertops.
Backsplash.
Yeah. I haven't really touched our backsplash because I'm already kind of like, so I like the look of it and everything's fine now. But if I was going to buy into this property, these are features that I feel like would have to be replaced every 10 years, which maybe even sooner. That I was like, oh,
you have to factor that in.
Like I'm paying way more, but like
that's the thing about
quality of material in here is not that great.
Well, that's the thing about buying too, is like you're gonna have to buy a place, and if you're not. I mean, we have a reasonable budget. It's not like $1 million or anything. It's like a very normal budget of what an apartment, probably like, more than what we can actually really afford.
Yeah.
But then you go to these ones and you see, and you're like, okay, so that's a $20,000 renovation that we'd have to do. And we'd have to buy the apartment, close it, do the renovation, and then be living somewhere else.
Right. And that's extra money on it. And then with the other crazy thing too is like they're like, there's 20 other people that just put in an offer.
Oh yeah.
And we showed this to 1,000 people today, so you only get 5 minutes to look.
Yeah,
so you have
like
5 minutes to make a huge financial decision. So this wasn't things I noticed right at top.
Yeah,
I was just like, oh, I love the look of it. And then when we got there, I was like, wait a minute, there's no overhead lighting.
Wow.
Not that I always think overhead lighting is garish, but you kind of do need it every now and then when you're like, I need the lights on so I can clean or
you need it when you need to see.
Yeah.
You're like, I need to read a document.
I don't need ambiance right now. Yeah. I need like legit something to work. So these are all things that were kind of, you just learn as you go.
Yeah, you can't absorb it immediately.
Yeah.
Well, I know. So I'm really, because we really like the area that we're in now, but we'll see. I also really like Astoria still, and
right.
And I don't know if we're like purchasing something as an investment. What
we would like for you guys to come move near us.
That would be fun.
Because I would love to have more friends there.
We've been watching this show that just came up on Hulu. It's like a new reality show, a polygamy reality show called Seeking Brother Husband. And it's really hilarious. And I keep joking with Mike that I'm going to introduce a brother for him because it's really funny because it'll be like it's like the wife is there and then like the brother husbands are like hanging a painting.
I never understood. I was trying to do that as a bit of like, why would you have more men in your apartment?
Right.
Like, it's just like more guys to explain where the milk is because they can't find anything.
It's hilarious. But I feel like we looked at some apartments in your building.
Did you really?
Yeah. And we didn't go look, but they're listed. And
yes.
I was like, how funny if we were in like a polycule now of friends. Not that we're sleeping with each other, but like comedy polycule of like, hey.
Actually, I don't mind. Come move into our building.
You guys have a great building. It's gorgeous.
I like our building. And I like our all the people that work there are really nice.
Yeah. Well, this leads us into what our next topic is because I'm getting married, of course, but I didn't do a registry because I think it would be really stressful to get a bunch of presents and then have a big move and then like have to move the presents
and then not knowing some of the presents that it's kind of like when I did the baby shower, then you get it and then you're like, it doesn't really work for my life right now.
Yeah.
So you're like, it's like you should register after you move.
Yeah. It's like we're doing home down payment. So it's like, we'll probably just try to get a home and then just live lean for a little while longer. And then I don't know. I'm like, at what point in my life, because people are like, what, you didn't want to register at Bloomingdale's? I'm like, do you think I'm in that type of tax bracket?
Right.
That I could use anything from Bloomingdale's? That I would be like, this is my plate When people come in, they look at the plate. Don't touch it. Don't look at it for too long. That's my Bloomingdale's plate.
When I totally agree. You're like, I'd love to, like, in my mind, you're like, why can't I afford Registry at a department store?
Yeah.
But then you do go look at Bloomingdale's.
And you're like, I can't ask my family to buy me a spoon.
You're like, it'd have to be one, my family would have to pool in for that one spoon.
We get one spatula. But we're talking kitchen upgrades today on Lady Journey because 'tis the season. There's a lot of after holiday deals going on.
Right. And I was going through when you live, you get temporary items like the Teflon, you're lightly cooking, you realize, I actually really do like to cook from home. And now that I'm trying not to buy takeout as much or whatever.
And you have the nonstick, and then you realize that you've probably been ingesting it because you're like, it's not non-scratch. It's not non-scratch, apparently.
Well, also, you know how like a lot of appliances these days are not appliances, like kitchen tools, like a spatula and the spoons and all that, ladles.
Yeah.
They're like the black material.
That's
and they were saying it's
next.
quite toxic.
Yeah.
So I've moved a lot of stuff when I can, if I can find it secondhand or just at a store that's reasonably priced. I've been finding like the metal version of it.
Yep. Because they said it was the
it comes
flame retardant material it doesn't catch fire, but yet it's like a plastic that's like leaching material when it's hot.
Yeah, because I made a cheese sauce the other day with that material, and I have to say, I was like, I don't remember putting nutmeg in this. But we went through. I just ate. I was like, it doesn't taste bad, so I'm just gonna pull through. Because I was like, I'm not remaking this, and I only have a small time to make Marty a meal, so it was just pure cheese sauce.
A little bit won't hurt. A little bit won't hurt, but a lot of it will hurt.
A lot. So I'm looking into. I want to get stainless steel.
Yes. Yeah, I do too. Now tell me about, you were just telling me about the heating point and why stainless steel is tricky, and I did not know this.
Right. So you want stainless steel, and this is something I also have to be mindful for myself, but you really, when you cook with it, because it's metal, or the certain kind of metal, it's like, I guess it's porous is probably the best way to describe it. So you really need it to get to the highest of temperature so it closes all the pores. So then it cooks everything better. That way it cooks it better. But if you don't get it to that temperature, you can really fuck it up.
The pan or the food?
The pan.
Okay. Yeah.
The pans can be quite expensive. Some people are really good about finding these at Goodwill because people just get rid of this stuff.
I know.
And then they buff it.
Yeah, I love those TikToks. So I'm like, that will never be me. I don't have the tools.
Time.
Yeah.
It takes time to do all that stuff. But you can't just have, it's one of those things that you just don't think about warning anybody that's staying over. Or like your husband to be like, you can't just fucking reheat something willy-nilly on this stuff. Like, you have to know what you're doing when you're using stainless steel.
It's stressful to have a tutorial for like a guest, or like then you're entrusting the other person that you live with to like always be following the careful directions of like the water bubble must dance atop the oil.
In a perfect kind of way. And it's also, you don't want to be that kind of person that makes everybody feel like they're like, oh, did I fuck it up?
Is Sarah gonna scream at me? Yeah.
So like, you're like, should I just stick to the easy shit that's for like, if it gets fucked up, that's easy. But then I want restaurant style. I want restaurant quality appliances.
I know. I want to upgrade to some stainless steel, and I also got a bunch of cutting boards that were plastic. And
I'm moving away back to the wood again.
I got to go back to the wood because the reason the wood ones, I do think that like, you know, once you get the cracks in there, like from the knives, obviously it's like there's fungus and stuff, but it's like the plastic one has cracks, and now I'm eating that. I'm just eating the plastic.
Yeah, and then they all get wobbly and weird. Even though I don't know, I have this weird. Joe and I always laugh. My sister got us nice plates, meaning substantial, like porcelain,
actual plates.
Yeah, the plates that we use beforehand are ones that you can just drop on the ground, microwave safe.
Yeah,
they're not going to shatter. And still to this day, we still prefer using those plates because in our minds, it just feels easier, but I kind of suspect it might be close to like an ADHD thing. You know how they say that people like with ADHD prefer the small spoon? like that?
Oh, they prefer the smaller spoon.
Because there's an aesthetic, or like the way it feels to you is more comfortable than eating from a larger spoon. And I suspect getting the heavier plate out of the shelving is annoying to me.
Yes.
That I don't like it, that taking a lighter, cheaper plate is more comfortable for my feeling. Like it's easy. That's what I suspect.
So interesting.
That's what I'm suspecting.
In ADD also a very creature of habits.
Yes.
So they don't like change. You'd be like, well, I'm just used to grabbing this plate and I don't want my life to change.
Right. Yeah. So like I'm not, it's like it's a commitment. It feels like, and I should get over it. And I do stuff like that, like the face mask where you're like, I'm going to save this for a very
yeah. And then 20 years later, it's like, it's dried out.
Yes. It's just like clay, dried up clay in just a bag. That's what, these are the kind of things that I'm trying to get over. Like use your nice stuff. Like, have you heard of like, people love the way that the Olsen twins really beat the shit out of their Hermes bag, because most women that get it, especially women that are like, probably I would say nouveau riche, don't want to ruin their expensive Hermes bag, the Birkin. But really that bag, the reason why you spend that much money on a bag like that is because it can take the beating.
Yes.
And that you do want wear and tear, and that it should be a bag that gets wear and tear.
Yes.
And that's what I feel like. The reason why you get these nice things is because they can take the wear and tear, and you should use the shit out of them.
Well, that brings me to my next point, which was that as I was mentioning to you, I was looking at, I really, really want to get cast iron because I'm like obsessed with doing short ribs. Yes. I haven't been able to. I just look at short rib videos and I'm like, one day I'll be able to do a short rib. I want to do like a ragu, and you have to have the cast iron. And I was like, okay, maybe I should just try to go budget, because you go to TJ Maxx or Marshall's,
they're always there,
like a budget cast iron. But then I feel like
treat yourself to the Le Creuset. But how much are they? Are we talking about 200 now?
The Le Creuset are like, for the actual legit Le Creuset, like signature cast iron, it's like $400.
I love their stuff.
But they have sales. And I
can get them used too.
Yeah, I've been on Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. running around. I'm like, they're like, the Le Creuset's in the basement. I'm like, okay, But so I found this very boring TikTok video, which it's so funny when you realize you're like, the algorithm gets me, because it was like an 80-minute thing on like a guy testing all these types of Dutch ovens, and he did like different tests. One test which I found to be really interesting was like he was dropping a ladle in it to see if the enamel cracked, and like all the cheaper ones, and the cheaper ones were still like $150.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
And the Staub and Le Creuset he was like, these are the ones I would get. I tested them, and it's like, when it comes to this, like the cast iron, you get what you pay for.
Right.
In terms of like heat retention, in terms of like it being, light enough that you can like actually work with it.
Some of them I think you can just like hand down generation to generation.
Yeah. It's like, it's a legit. So I do think I am going to start with the Le Creuset, like the cast iron Dutch oven, but I'm going to look for a sale, or I am going to try to get it used. But this is my vision is, because my kitchen is tiny and we have a mini fridge, but eventually one day when I live in my new apartment, I have a full size fridge and I have room in the kitchen for like, I've been dying to get an air fryer.
I love my air fryer.
I want one so bad.
I got rid of get rid of the toaster, get the air fryer for like one appliance out.
Yeah,
one appliance in.
That's a good idea, actually.
Because I use it to toast. It doesn't do toast like a regular toaster, but you can get it there.
Yeah. Maybe I will do that, because I want to get the air fryer. I want to, I upgraded my blender, so I'm kind of there.
Yeah.
But I'm just waiting, to get into my new home, because either way, if we buy an apartment or not, we're going to move this year, because we're like, okay, I can't be 40 and like living with my husband who's 50, and we have a mini fridge. Like, like at a certain point, it's like we have to make the change. We need to grow up.
Right. But then I just watched a TikTok of like a 4-person family, like mom and dad with 2 kids, and
500 square foot I love we have the same algorithm, and you're like, but then you're like, how do they have 3 bedrooms though?
How
because
do they have?
I live in 600 square feet. We have 2 rooms, and our kitchen's tiny.
They must have partitions in there, but then I'm always like impressed with the way with people use space because I have to tell you, I do not know how to use space.
No. Well, they did have all custom furniture, which you're like, I guess you could have afforded a more expensive apartment if you weren't getting custom furniture. That's $8,000 for your bed frame. I don't know.
Right.
It's just me.
Oh God, I know you. Sometimes you're like, I wasted my life. I should have gotten a physical skill set.
I should have been a plumber. I could have been a hot plumber.
Right?
That's my brand. Hot plumber. That's my show on Fox. FX.
You would have gotten it.
But yeah, I love upgrading the kitchen, and I just love
now
that it's cold.
Linens. Also, what's your take on? I go back and forth. Like I'm going to do the Christmas dinner this year, but we're going to do it at an Airbnb. But so I can't really. They'll have plates there, but I want to have serving. I want nice serving stuff.
So I have Fiestaware.
But then how often are you serving?
I do exactly. I have Fiestaware that I use day to day, and that's just all the dishes that I have. And I would love to have like some beautiful platters, but I don't have the room for it. It's like right now, what's going on? I need to downsize in my apartment right now because what's going on is like I literally have stuff coming out of the seams of my apartment because I'm also obsessed with like feeling stocked and like having a couple extra boxes of tissues. So like if I have a cold, I'm not like, I guess I'm stocking up now, like infecting COVID upon the CVS. And so it's like I do have like a one nice big serving bowl, but it's like I'm just bursting at the seams where it's like I cannot add a plate. I cannot add a plate.
I know, but I want like a plate to put cold meats on with like vegetables. And, if you have people over to be like, here's my plate.
And not be like, look at my plate. And not be like serving it on your cutting board.
Well, I felt bad. I know, because that's what I'm going to end up doing for the holiday hang on Sunday. But I don't have stuff to put stuff in.
Yeah.
And my sister gave me, it was funny, but as time went by, like it was very nice like, I don't know what you would call it, pottery. And it was like a crab on top of a lettuce leaf. And I was like, but I don't know what this is for.
Right.
Like I can't.
You're like, this is my chip and dip bowl for when I have chip and dip.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want like a good wooden bowl.
Yeah.
For salads or stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Like a dip bowl is good. I want like little fancy bowls to put treats in.
Oh my God, some treat bowls.
I want some treat
You need
bowls.
some snack nut bowls. I remember that from that Jen Kirkman bit where she was like getting married and like she lost all of her friends because she was like, something like about being unruly at the wedding or whatever, like a nightmare bride. And then she was like just sitting at home with her snack nut bowls. I think I'm butchering that, but all I remember is her being like, my snack nut bowls.
That's what because whenever I look at these fancy spreads, I love what they're putting them in.
Yes.
And it's always just like kind of a hodgepodge. It's never like a set design, but this is what I'm not hoping, but will one day happen. My mom has a lot of stuff and maybe I'll get the hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to hold off for that.
I'm having a fantasy right now. I'm having such a strong, this is my new, my new maladaptive.
Yeah. Here it comes.
I've just been, so like, this is my fantasy. Like me and Mike get our new apartment. It has a big kitchen. We have all of our friends over and I'm like busy in the kitchen, like making a full French mousse.
Right.
I have a giant bowl of mousse and everyone gets a little bowl of mousse for their dessert after I've already made, some other stunning meal.
Right.
And then, of course, people are complimenting the decor. I've attained decor at this point in my life. And then I also have friends. That's part of the fantasy.
I'm picturing copper pots hanging above you.
Hanging. Yeah. There's a ceiling element. There's a 3D element to the decor.
Food is on tiers.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. It's going to be amazing.
I want food on tiers.
Oh, that's what I'm having for my wedding. I'm doing food on tiers. Well, for the desserts.
At different levels.
The dessert. Oh my God. Levels of food.
I only have one cake stand and I will be bringing it out for the holiday party and I might put treats on it.
Delightful.
Maybe the pigs in the blanket.
Oh yeah. I can't wait.
It's going to be a bash.
It's going to be a bash. Well, that was our episode.
Yeah.
That was our episode. Hey, listen, please
join our Patreon. If you can't afford it, we get it.
You can join for free, although I don't know what you get.
But go to our YouTube, subscribe to our channel.
Yes.
And
Live, laugh,
which
love.
you're here right now. Live, laugh, love.
Lady Journey.
Lady Journey.